Most coaches and creators are spending 90% of their time on content, yet they're still wondering why their Stripe account looks like an absolute ghost town. I typically see three buckets that these folks fall into. Number one, they've been showing up online consistently, right? Posting content, doing all the things, yet they're still not getting results. Number two, potentially you're starting off fresh with your brand online, yet you've got a good offer that you know can help people, but you don't have 6 to 12 months to wait to build that personal brand, to figure out how to package it, pitch it, or create content that actually sells it. Number three, you're growing, but it's not sustainable, right? You're kind of stuck on the content hamster wheel, trying to stay visible, if you will, but your business only moves forward when you're working. If you fall into any of these, this video is for you, all right? You don't need more hustle, you need a system. And ideally a system that turns your brand into a client-generating machine without being glued to your phone 24/7. What's going on? My name is Justice Severin. I am the owner of Original Chapters and the creator of the 30-Minute Coaches System. I make these videos for coaches and creators who are looking to grow a wildly profitable personal brand without doing all the stuff. All right, so today is just another great example of that here for you. And obviously as well too, if you're new, absolutely drop a comment down below saying new. Would love to see where you're at, what niche you're selling, promoting online. If you're returning, you must like this stuff here, so go ahead, hit that subscribe button, all right? Definitely love seeing you pop back up here, too. Feel free. I don't want to let you know that you can't comment, too, right? Let me know down in the comments if you're returning to it. Would love to see it. But really, when it comes down to the system and these pieces, these buckets I'm referring to, that's exactly what I'm breaking down inside of my Brand to Clients Masterclass. And in this video, I'm actually going to walk you through why that system works and how you can start using it right now. So later in the video, I'll actually show you how this all ties inside, really not just ties inside, but just ties together inside of my $1 million client acquisition machine that I built in my business since I started off as a full-time accountant, right? I was a full-time accountant for 6-7 years in Boston, end up, stepping away completely from that early 2021, and here we are now. I never look back. But the reality is, like, I say that because you can do it too based off of your background. Don't let that stop you, all right? So today, I want to make sure I give you access to that here too. So definitely make sure I hit you that later in the video. But I want to kind of like speak on these three buckets because we spoke on those. I really want to hit home. Like that first bucket even being, once again, you're showing up, but no clients are showing up for you. That is the part where yet again, I just see most coaches and creators really who are without clarity and honestly just wasting their energy, right? It's really kind of like this mentality of they're guessing and they're not guiding. I see this so often with content where once again, we're just kind of waking up, we're thinking, what should I post about today? It's just very aimless. And you could be even good at writing content, right? I just think the problem is that typically it's because the focus is on content instead of clarity, conversion, and visibility, right? I had a client, Sarah, basically, where she was posting every day, right? And really multiple times a day, especially with reels. That's such a common thing, we posting reels every, 2, 3, 4, 5 times a day, which feels nuts to me. But not a single DM was coming in, aka no warm leads were coming in. It's like, yeah, she's getting clicks on the website, she's getting views, but that's not turning into anything, right? So we switched her over to really now making one leveraged video periodically. And I'm talking about like she was making this once sometimes like every 6 weeks, right? And it was this point now she ended up closing a 3K deal on her side there in 6 days, right? Same content, different visibility engine. That's what we really want to start switching for you on that side here, is really how can we start to burst out that visibility engine and really get your brand in front of the right people, right? And then there's really bucket number two, I say, which is really now you've got an offer, right? But it's just not landing, right? You've got, and potentially in that first one, right? Like I said, you may have an offer, you're showing up to all these things here, you're not closing clients. Then there's the second bucket where you're showing up, but you're new, right? You have an offer that's already potentially converted heavily offline, right? That's then a lot of times for people, that's really where they don't have that benefit. Like, myself, I didn't have that benefit when I was coming from an accounting background, right? I had to kind of create an offer online. And even that's where, back in 2020, I really started as an affiliate marketer. And that's when things started to really boom for me. And then, launched the coaching business and quit and went full-time online in 2021. But yeah, I didn't have that thing working offline just yet. I had kind of validated in a different way. So you could be that person where right now you've got something that's already working, you're trying to bring it online. Now, we just got to make sure that you can start to get clients, because the problem for you right now is like these clients aren't hitting. It's like, you can help people. You've actually already seen the proof, but, it's just not hitting. Or once again, you've got the proof, you've got the receipts, but it's just not hitting right there. And so that's really where we need to kind of get that switch there. And I say this because it's not just that people, because for you right now, you feel like you already know that it works. So like internally, you feel like you're good. The problem is externally when you're putting the messaging out there, right? It's not just that people need to be understand like, oh, like, you have an offer, etc. But there's this reality that people need to be instantly clear on what you do. But I think bigger than this is that the message has to really resonate strongly with them. I've talked about this a lot before. Is this idea of having a strong, powerful message? How powerful this can be when whether you're using paid ads, whether you're using organic traffic, whether you're using organic being a free traffic with content, right? Or however else it will be, word of mouth, whether it's in the DMs in your actual sales conversations on a call. The messaging is extremely important because of how it touches all of these different areas. And that's where a lot of people drop the ball, right? Because if you don't get this right, typically folks are just going to scroll right past, right? And I'll tell you right now, most coaches and creators, yet again here, like this is just why they get this wrong, because most coaches and creators believe that they need more leads, right? I need more leads. I need more of this. The reality is that you potentially have enough leads. You just need to position your offer better in order to get the right people in front of it, right? In order to get that content in front of the right eyeballs. That's why I'm so big on monetizing small audiences here. Like I only have I definitely less than 20,000 followers across all platforms. And I feel like last I checked, I feel like it was like 12,000 followers. Like I just know it's not a lot. For someone who's running $1 million business, you would assume that I've got 50,000 followers, 100,000 followers. That just doesn't have to be the case, right? When I first hit my first 6 figures online, I had a Facebook group of about 200 people. And, just so you know, now, like I have my community where I host the 30-minute coach system, and that's about 3,500 members in there. But like I had a free community that was only 200 people. And at the time I had a mentor, interview me, and they brought me up, and that was the angle to it. That was the hook that, was kind of the attraction. And I remember just thinking like, you know what? That really is not even my strategy. I wasn't focused on growing the group and having it hit a big number. For me, it was more so about how can I make sure that every warm, hot lead that comes in, I can do the most to really go ahead and convert them into a client. That was the focus. And so it wasn't on let's just get pure volume in the door. Let's go ahead and get the right people in. So now the conversion percentage can be that much higher. That's how I want you to see this here. And that's where the messaging, it comes into play, like I mentioned, with the content, with the offer, with the conversations themselves, and everything in between. You could argue like, just so deep, you can go with that side there as well too. You need one that really speaks to a real problem and makes it feel urgent. That's what you really want to start hitting off when we get into this one. The third bucket is, once again, maybe you're getting clients, or even like, let's say you're getting clients or you're close to getting clients, but either way, the system is broken. And there's a couple of red flags you can kind of tell if the system is broken. Probably because for one, you're on the verge of breaking out, not breaking out, burning out. There's a lot of telltale signs, red flags. I don't want to list them all out here, but you probably can just sense that there's leverage missing. Let's put it that way. And your business just can't grow if it's so dependent on you, if everything is dependent on you here. This is where I see business owners working on their business really typically like a job. And I would say if you want to get specific, I really see them working like they're working for an underpaid job, or a job that really they're getting drastically underpaid for. Stuck trading time for visibility, basically, right? And this is where, yet again, meanwhile, you're the one burning out. And it's kind of like, you're almost in a sense one burnout week away from the whole thing stalling. I had a client, Brianna, where really she was doing well with her agency, but she wanted a coaching business that would bring her more peace and and just stronger profit margins at the same time. And so often, like she was looking to move to Thailand, right? And she just needs something that would just bring a better balance. And with the agency side, there were just so many moving pieces, so much leverage missing, the sense of even systems within that. So it's like when she came to me, yes, the coaching, like we were able to get our first, 10K a month within 45 days there. But really, it was a combination of how we're bringing leverage to both. Because even when we got the coaching business offer off the ground, it was like, yeah, it was in a good place. We made a great offer. But then it got to the point where we actually had to like move the line back in the sense of, okay, we need to bring more leverage into this than what we started with. And I'm a big believer in this philosophy of do the unscalable when you're starting off. Right? A lot of times we go into an offer thinking, we're going to something in general thinking, I need to act as if I'm already at $2 million a year. The reality is you're not. So stop acting like you are right now, because you're missing out on the advantage of not being there. When you're there, there's certain things you will not be able to do. So do those right now. Get the leverage, get the experience, get the client results, and make the marketing easier, which then makes your sales easier. And then you can start to move that line back, right? So that's exactly what happened there. But it's really about making sure you have leverage across the business, right? From the foundation of how the offer is set up, to how you're going about your lead generation, to how your sales process goes and your ecosystem moves folks around. This is just so critical when you can start to dial these in the right way. So that's why I say these 3 buckets, I've just seen it where the majority of folks like yourself watching this right now, there's a good chance you're in one of those 3. So like whichever one resonates with you, I want you to really lean in, because here's what I kind of view as what's necessary, right? I say for one, you need a way to be seen consistently. This is something where I say this especially because when it comes to building a brand, there's not many more things that have more leverage. I talked about the difference between what Nike can charge versus other shoe brands. They can charge more because their brand is so high, right? We can do the same thing. We just don't realize it. I think the tough part is that for one, if no one knows you, no one's buying. So like that's why the brand is so important. But we have to understand that we need to be able to really build this over the long run. Like, yes, I was able to, go from my first 0 to 100K in 6 months and 8 days, right? But the reality is that the bigger wins and the easier wins that came for me, they came because I stayed consistent over the long run. And that gave me more and more leverage over time, right? So that's what we really want to just make sure we're just tapping into heavily here, right? So that's a big one. What else I view as necessary is really you have to have this magnifying glass, if you will, or you need someone else to be holding the magnifying glass for you in order to spotlight gaps where the content isn't resonating. Because this ties right back towards the idea of your message isn't resonating. And if your message isn't resonating, we see that really impact the entire sales process, from where someone first finds out about you to where they could be potentially paying you $1,000, $2,000, $5,000, $10,000 and beyond. This is where we need to really just make sure that you are keeping your finger on the pulse of that, because otherwise it's going to really slow down your long-term progress, right? And then really it's having a path to walk your warmest leads through. Having a path to walk your warmest leads down. This is critical because it's a way that can save you time and energy. And when you can now, this is kind of where you need to do that upfront work, because when you start to figure it out and you've seen something convert several times, you can now let your ecosystem really funnel through the noise, the noise that is poor leads, if you will, in a sense here. I don't mean poor just from financial, but poor just meaning the wrong people, right? So that the cream of the crop can rise to the top for you, right? And that's where the reality is. We want to let your ecosystem do this, and we can start to let really your first 50% of your ecosystem be completely automated, right? And especially at the very least, like 50 to 80% can be a combination of automated and delegated. And now this just allows you to focus more time and energy on the income producing activities that the business needs you to be thriving in, right? And like, it's these simple changes that can just drastically change everything for you. Because really where you're going wrong with any of those buckets and beyond is, once again, you're treating content like a lottery ticket. Like you're trying to play this algorithm lottery system and it's not getting you where you want to get to, right? You just don't have a brand that leads anywhere. So many people, I say this all the time, start with the end in mind. Like you need to build a brand that's going to allow you to scale and make things easier as you do, right? I've mentioned in the past here, yes, you want to do the things that are unscalable in the beginning, and no, you don't want to go ahead and like just act as if you have a $2 million business when you're at zero, but we can keep in mind what we envision will be there, who we envision ourselves serving at that point, how we envision the offer looking, because we don't have to make things completely in alignment with that today, but we can start building with that in the future, right? That's how we want to really view it there as well too. And really just, I'm telling you, like a large place where people are going wrong is just that they haven't positioned their offer really to convert. If I could put that as simple as that, right? Even if it's a great offer, there's a difference between having a great offer and giving it the hopes, giving it the legs it needs to actually get out there and convert content to clients, convert audience members into paying clients there. So big. Like, it's like, just like people need to stop. It's like, don't be Jimmy out there who's, posting for 6 months straight and wondering why no one's buying. And, his solution is thinking, you know what? I need more Canva templates. Like, stop. You're trying to solve a ship that is just drowning and sinking in the Atlantic with Scotch tape. And like, that's just not going to be your answer. It's not going to be your solution. You need a system that connects your brand, content, and offer into one smooth path that turns strangers into clients. That's how we need to really start to focus on. And if you build it with the end in mind, so you don't need to chase, burn out, or guess what your next move is, you will be thanking yourself later. I can promise you that. I can promise you that there, right? So now I want to get to once again, like, what's this new path forward we can really move through? And obviously, if this is like giving you some light bulbs here, drop a light down below. Would love to see. Obviously, if you feel like you're in one of those three buckets, let me know down below as well too. Like, I'd love to see where you're at, just so folks can feel like they're not alone, at the very least here. And the good news is that I want to now break down what this new path forward can really start to look like, because there is a better way to grow. Right, like I mentioned, I want to show you, for one, like I said, like the path I took to get to $1 million. But really, it's not built around chasing more platforms. It's not everyone's obsessed with the tech. Like, it's not about this 97-step funnel that's gonna, or just making new offers every single month. It comes from really leaning in and building one simple system that turns your brand into a client magnet. That's the focus, right? And that system really comes down to 3 key shifts as far as I'm concerned. Any system that you're going to lean into really should have these 3 key shifts if you want to build leverage and sustainable business that just, once again, doesn't lead you towards burnout, doesn't lead you towards having low margins. You can start with the end in mind that way. I think it's extremely powerful for you. So number one, the first key shift I would really say, first secret in a sense here, is create a visibility engine that brings you premium clients while you're not even working. That is the sweet spot, right? And the problem isn't just visibility, it's really intentionality, right? You want to have this really built around one clear, consistent message that positions you as the go-to expert in your niche, as the go-to period. That's how you want to have it, right? And I would say you really want to start embracing simple content with the strategic presence, because it's the flip that really gets people messed up. Right? I'll tell you right now, like, a key piece of this is you need to do this in a way that's going to allow you to sustain your content strategy long term. This is a huge reason why so many fail. You're setting yourself up for long-term failure by not thinking like this to start. Once again, don't be like Jimmy and just post content for every day, 3 times a day for a month and a half, and then you burn out. So now you don't post again for another 6 months, and you just repeat this cycle. And you're like, well, why other people are winning? Why am I struggling? It's because you haven't started with the end in mind, right? Keep that philosophy for the content how you go as well too. Set yourself up long term to get seen once, and give yourself a way to repurpose that forever. These are ways we can really simplify how we can create this visibility engine and allow you to stay consistent, and especially when you can bring in the automation, the systems, how you can do this while you're not working. You want a brand that's really working. If you only have 2 hours a day to put into your business, 1 to 2 hours a day, you need a brand that's working 22 to 23 hours while you're not around. Like, that's how we need to see the focus. The second key shift, right? That is now content that converts, period. We need to be making content that converts. When we think about this visibility engine, what's the content we're going to be putting into it, right? We need the content that converts, and more importantly, a content that converts that doesn't focus on getting likes. Majority were taught just to entertain, add value, do these things without this notion of we need to actually bring a strategy to the table when we are doing that. I'm not against entertaining. I'm not against giving value, but don't do it aimlessly, right? One of the most important pieces is really being able to spotlight the gaps within the strategy so that you can quickly implement and really spotlight those fixes, right? What needs to now be changed? I'm a big believer in data-driven decisions, but at the same time, data means nothing if we do nothing with it. Right? I have a mentor of mine who would always say, we believe as entrepreneurs, our intellect is really our greatest asset when it's our intuition, that is. Now, here's the catch, is that a lot of the time, that is true, and I do believe that's true, but a lot of the times we really go with our intuition too soon. We go off our intuition before we have data. So let's bring in the data and allow ourselves to use our intuition in an intellectual way, right? As opposed to just kind of shooting off the hip. It's the same philosophy, why they call it a hypothesis. It's an educated guess to how we can fix something. as opposed to just a guess. Take the hypothesis route. Don't just guess randomly. It's not going to get you where you need to get to. And we need to be able to spot like these pieces that are off so we can make these changes here too, right? This is so big for you on that side here as well. So that's where we really want to kind of change this philosophy as we're moving forward, right? And once again, for us, the way that I really like to kind of see this is we fix that by installing what I kind of call the clarity layer, and which is really just the part of your brand and content that actually makes people want to buy from you. And this, as you can tell, within the clarity layer, a large piece of it is the overall messaging, the positioning that you're taking because of how much it impacts your entire sales process from new audience member to someone actually paying you money inside your business, right? And the third key shift is a client getting system that runs on autopilot. This is what we really need to focus on. We need to really plug the leveraged visibility we've created up to this point into an actual client acquisition machine, right? Without this, we basically wasted our time. We're just giving ourselves a day job of posting content, just always posting content in the DMs constantly, chasing all these kind of stuff. We have to really set ourselves up for success in a better way, right? And this is where you truly lean into that ecosystem effect that thrives. This is where you can really start to create that. Because imagine if you can set up this ecosystem that can now book calls for you. It can nurture your leads for you, right? It can leave lukewarm and hot leads at your doorstep constantly, right? And ideally, if you're like me and you kind of hate pushy sales tax, like this is the same kind of plug and play system that I use to close over $1 million in coaching. All right. And like, this isn't just, I'm telling like, it was from leaning in to these three keys. Right. And I'm telling like, yes, I said this for me. But once again, this is the same mentality that took Cassie, my client there, from $8K in debt to her first $45K month, right? And has now closed over $500,000 in sales. Built the whole thing from scratch as a stay-at-home mom of 2 kids, right? Ryan, who launched his very first coaching offer and pulled in 2 10K months, not more than 60 days apart. One of those being 100% close rate months, right? Betty, who was stuck offering her done for you services until she stepped into the coaching with me, leaned into this stuff and had her first 7K month ever, right? Sarah, like I already mentioned before, right? No coaching clients, so 2 weeks later, she closed her first 3K sale. And then guess what? She had 4 more come through. And even on top of this, the way that with the visibility engine, she was able to actually grow her group to over 300 members in record time. Right? Then I can even say Vince, who rebuilt his business from the ground up, leaned into an all-in-one system and closed a 15K client in just 30 days. Right? All from just making one 30-minute video. I'm telling you. And for him, it was fully organic, no ads, one virtual assistant. Like, this is what can really start to change when you lean in, right? So I'd share all this because if you want the exact blueprint I used to build a 7-figure brand that closes clients on demand just using 30-minute blocks of time, I'm walking you through it step by step live, right? These are the exact 3 shifts I'm breaking down in detail, step by step, in my Brand to Clients Masterclass, all right? It's free for now. I want you to know, check the link down below in the description. It's free. It depends on when you're watching this, right? Because basically I'm hosting it on June 18th at 6 p.m. That's Wednesday, June 18th at 6 p.m. 2025, all right? By the time you watch this video, it's definitely less than a week away. All right, so you're going to get the full behind the scenes. This is how to finally build a brand that actually pays, right? And for me, like, this has been an absolute game changer, right? So like I said, links in the description. Seats are already filling up. If you're serious, don't miss this. Just like point blank period. Now, if you're here watching this now and you know the masterclass has already been wrapped up by the time you're watching this, I want to make sure I get you covered too, right? I'm going to actually put that same masterclass replay inside of my 30-minute coaching system, right? Really, inside of it, you're not only going to get the replay of obviously what I broke down in the masterclass. The 30-minute coaching system is actually a strong part of the visibility content engine secret and shift that really changed my business there, right? So I'm going to make sure that for one, you get access to that system, but 2, you get access to the replay, because the combination really inside of that, you're going to get the strategy that breaks down yet again how I've generated $1 million cash collected in my business from creating content once and repurposing it forever, right? Helping coaches and creators automate lead gen, really fixing their client flow and closing sales without the grinding out of content 24/7. All right. So once again, just a link is in the description. No matter what time you're watching this video, it's down below there for you. Once you got questions for me, don't hesitate. Drop them in the comments here. Happy to reach out if you need there as well too. But lean into this. I'm telling you, this will be a game changer for you, whether you're watching it live or on the replay. If you have a chance to watch it live, I highly recommend you jump in. If you're watching the replay, I highly recommend you watch that several times. All right. Like I said here, this is a no-brainer. Jump into it. Hey, this is all I got here for today. So definitely appreciate you being here. If you got some value to this, like it. Obviously, make sure you share it to somebody if you want to make sure that they can soak this up. Take advantage of what we've got going on in the Branded Clients Masterclass. And that's all I got for today. Subscribe to the channel. I'll see you in the next one. I'm here every single Wednesday. Yeah, except for this next time on Wednesday because we're going live. But otherwise, talk to you soon. Take care.